Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. I've got a special user request today on how to do styling in a React app. So I thought we'd go over some of the installing some of the tools necessary to do effective styling and some of the theory behind how CSS and JS is used nowadays in React apps and how we got here. And then I think after we go over those concepts, we'll go into actually creating an app, or not an app, but just styling a simple component for college professor reviews, kind of like ratemyprofessors.com type thing. So thanks for watching, guys. We're going to get into it right now. So I've got this terminal open, and there's links in the descriptions for Create React App. Which I already have installed, and I think to run that I'm going to go into the directory where I keep my source for these tutorials here, and I'm just going to run create React app, and then I'm going to name it, and we're starting a new project to go over the basics of running npm eject and installing the Sass Loader for Webpack. So I'm just going to title this one Sass Demo. And when we end up going back and working through actually building a component with styles, we're going to go back to another project we've been working on, which is a course prerequisite tree like this one. If it's still running, yeah. So we'll add the professor ratings there somehow. So while this is installing, I want to go over kind of the concept of how most people are using style sheets in React apps these days. So about 10 years ago when I started programming, there was, and really with the advent of CSS, maybe a little bit before that, there was a big push to centralize style sheets. You would, like, basically with the purpose of reuse. So people thought that if we put all our style sheets in one place, then ideally we could reuse a lot of those styles, like for different components of our app, so that we could use the same class to kind of bestow styles to certain components, and that was better than inlining styles in the HTML, which is what people were doing before CSS. Mostly it was better, but we kind of lost the ability to see the HTML and the CSS side by side until later when tooling became a little better, and you could go into like your Chrome DevTools or Firefox, what was it called, Firebug or something like that, and you could actually see, you could click on an element and see what the styles were affecting it, and that helped tremendously in managing those centralized style sheets. But it's still, I mean, I still think that including your styles with your components is easier conceptually to understand, and it looks like the community is finally back on track with that. So one issue that you had with centralizing style sheets, and hold on, it looks like our Create React app has started up here. So we're going to start this really quick, and I'll go over kind of how this is made possible with CSS and JS now. So now you can keep your style sheets right next to your HTML, and everything works just fine, which is really cool. Let's see, run on, yeah, that's fine. So in about a minute or so, that Create React app tool downloaded whatever the latest version of React is or something and created a new app for us with React and everything loaded, with some component structure set up. This is great. And let me demo to you really quick why we would want, or let me show you how the style sheets work in this app, I guess. So let's open up the project in WebStorm, which is a great IDE. If you don't have it, I suggest you get it, because programming for the web, there's nothing like it that I know of. Atom and Sublime are cool text editors, but if you want a full-featured IDE for programming, which I do, then I think that WebStorm is the best. Okay, so if we look at the structure of our project here, let's take a look at the index.js. Index.js creates this React app for us basically by rendering this app component inside of the root element of the index.html. And it imports this CSS. There are these CSS files, index.css, and then if we look into the app component right here, app imports app CSS. These imported CSS files, they get compiled into, or they should get compiled into CSS and injected into the HTML. So I want to go find that really. Let's see if we can find it. So I'm pulling up this this here. Yeah, here we go. So they get injected into a style sheet. Oops. Here. So you can see right here that these styles for this app component that we see here, we're looking through app title font size 1.5 EM, and then we hop over to WebStorm and other project though, and if we go into our app CSS, we're going to see that app title font size 1.5 EM. So this is going ahead and injecting these styles for us. So you used to have a problem. Let's have two separate components. I want to really quick. Used to have to worry about collisions basically. I'll just go over the concept really quick. So you could have in here H2 and say you want a blue header here or whatever. And in your app, you wanted H2 to have a background color of blue. So let's go look at how that looks. See, there it is, blue. And then in your index.js, you want to have we need like another child component here. Let's go to here, child component, and let's see. I'm going to steal everything from this app component so that we can reuse it, except this is going to inherit use a child component.css. Child component. It's going to have its own style sheet, and it doesn't need this logo anymore. All I want in here is I want to change this to red header, and in my child component I want to have sorry, this is, yeah. So I'm going to clear out the child component CSS, and I'm going to make headers 2 have background color of red. And so I want to see my child component with a red header. We just need to render that in our app still, so we need to import child component from child component. I think we may need to, I don't know if this, I don't think that would matter, but name it properly, and then we'll just add a child component here. App is not defined. Yeah, so our problem here is that the style sheets, the second style sheet that we had of our child component is changing the the blue header to a red header because we have that H2 style twice. So the red one, since it's coming later in the HTML in a later style tag, it's clobbering the blue background over here that we set for this header. So what you would do then is you would namespace your style sheets. So you need to make things more specific, and what you could do is you could call div class name inner component or whatever, or we'll call it child component. And then, now that you've got child component, you can add to your child component CSS dot child component h2. So that way, it only affects. So that way, it's called namespacing your CSS. And basically, what it does is it makes it so that only headers inside of your child component are affected by the style sheet or the more specific style sheet. So you want this header to be red and this header to be blue, and you're good to go. And so you can do that real easily with a technology called Sass. And in Sass, what you would do, or SCSS is another form of Sass, which is more similar to CSS. You could namespace all your styles like this, and this is not going to compile because it's not Sass, but it makes a lot of sense in that you can namespace. So this means all H2s inside of child components set the background color to red. It's the same as this, and it actually transpiles into CSS. It looks just like this. But imagine how much more scalable this is when we want to add an input field, and we want to set a border around it solid 2 pixels red, or a text or a box shadow, 1 pix, 1 pix, 1 pix, for example. And now this isn't going to work because it's not valid CSS. It's in fact really this is SCSS. So let's go ahead now and add our Sass Loader so that we can load Sass and SCSS in our Create React app. To do this though, we're going to have to run npm eject. And if we look in our package JSON file here, we can see there's this eject script here. And if you want to read into the docs on that, go ahead. Basically what it does is it exposes the Webpack configuration to us at the expense of our app will no longer be managed by the Create React app tool, essentially. So eventually you're probably going to have to do this anyways if your app has any sort of level of complexity and you need to add different loaders to Webpack or things like that. So let's go ahead and run npm eject, and I think it's going to prompt us maybe some things. We need to run npm run eject. And it's gonna, here it prompts us, are we sure? Yes, we're sure. And when that's done running, we want to look into something called the Sass Loader. And I'm going to add this link to the description as well. So that's there for you. Yep, and so it's got some dependencies that we need to install for this to work. And so I'm just going to copy the installation instructions here. Looks like we ejected successfully, and if you look at the structure, real quick, I'm going to paste that doesn't look like I copied. I want to look over the structure of this with you guys really quick. So now if we take a look at the package JSON, we've got all our dependencies in here. It looks like this filled out quite a bit. I don't think this stuff was in here before because Create React App was managing all this stuff for us. And we also have this scripts directory that's brand new. And if we look, you can see build here. It goes over how Webpack, like all the Webpack configuration and everything essentially. Or, sorry, the launching of the Webpack. And Webpack is the build and deploy tool that we use not only to bundle up the source code and to run like Babel transpiling and everything, but also it's what launches this server at 3002 for us so that we can edit our own app. So if we look into config, here's where all the Webpack config exists. And we're only going to do this for the dev config, but if you're planning on launching this app in production, you're probably going to want to change the prod config as well. So anyways, let's go back to those installation instructions. Make sure we have this copy this time, and we do. And we're going to paste that into our Sass demo root directory. And this is going to install the Sass Loader for us. Now, let's see here. It looks like all we need to do is chain the Sass Loader with the CSS loader and style loader to immediately apply all styles to the DOM. You can also pass options directly to node Sass. We don't need to do that. So then all we need to do is add this rule here. And I'll show you exactly where this goes. So it says add this to Webpack config.js. For us, this is going to be Webpack config dev.js, and we can see down here that our those dependencies that we need to do install are good to go. So let's go into our Webpack config.dev, and we're going to take a look at let's go look at this real quick. We need to find rules in here, and that's going to, those are rules for our loaders. And we can see that we're pretty close here in formatting. So we've got rules, and any JS, JSX, or MJSS file, we're going to use the ESLint formatter. Let's go look for the CSS one. Okay, and here it is. Test CSS, use style loader, use post CSS loader. And then we've got our loader for JS, HTML, JSON. Cool. So let's go ahead and add our SCSS loader here. And we need to add a comma. And so now it says whenever it finds a file that says SCSS, and we may need to exclude this somewhere from something else, but it's going to use the style loader, the CSS loader, and the Sass loader. So let's just go ahead and see now if that's working. So we're going to run, first let's make sure that we turned this off. Yep, turned off our last run of the Sass demo. And so I'm restarting the server just so that it starts with the new Webpack configuration. Gonna have to run it on another port, and we'll see if it picks up this. Well, I can't find the CSS file right now because it doesn't exist. So we're gonna want to import the SCSS file because we renamed child component.css to child component SCSS. And it looks like we're loading Sass now. So let's try. Let's go ahead. So this is already in Sass format, so it looks like we are good to go now. Everything's loading with Sass, or sorry, SCSS just fine. If you wanted to load it with Sass, which has a slightly different syntax, let's go back to that Webpack config, and all we need to do is change this regex here that looks for SCSS. So it says any file that ends with .scss or .sass, Sass, use these loaders here. So let's add a Sass file just to make sure this works. We're going to add a child component b.sass, and we're going to add a child component b component. Yeah. And this header is going to be green. And let's take a look real here. This needs to import the child component b.css, sorry, .sass. And we're going to go in here and just change our child component b h2, no, background color. So I think this is Sass format. We'll find out. Oh, there's no semicolons in Sass. Let's go add that component then to our app here. Just going to, we need to import that. And let's see if it's there. There's our green header. Did we forget to change? We probably forgot to change this class name. No. Are we importing? Huh. So right now our H2 is blue. It's actually a different blue, or a different blue color it looks like, which is weird, but so I want to go back and look and see what loader we're using then. We're using the style loader, Sass Loader, yeah. Let's go take a look real quick at Sass Formatting. So we've got Sass open here real quick. I don't actually use Sass. I recommend using SCSS because it's compatible, backwards compatible with CSS, and it makes things real nice. They might be Giant song on the Blood Mobile. Let's see. I'm looking at the comments right now. Can I react to They Might Be Giants song, The Blood Mobile? Sorry, Robbie, I don't know. I just I need to make sure it's not copyrighted. I don't want to. I see a copyright on their website, so I don't want to steal anything on accident and get the YouTube channel shut down. But I mean, I'll look into that for next time. Thanks for participating. Anyway, so we're going back to our Sass here, and yeah, nesting looks like that. That's SCSS. Sass looks like this. So we got it. Looks like we've done it right here. Child component B. Are we importing this in the right fashion here? Child component B, div class name, child component B. Did we import child component B from child component B? I want to know. Yeah, so we've got H2 there. Maybe we need to restart real quick our, yeah, we probably forgot to restart our React server, and that's why we're not getting it. And that's why it's inheriting the parent blue. There we go. Yeah, so if you change the Webpack config, don't forget to restart your Webpack server. All you have to do is Control-C out of that npm run start that we run to run the app, and then run npm run start again. May or may not prompt you. Answer the prompts. And then, cool. So we've got namespace styles now. So now you guys have seen how to set up Sass and SCSS. And And so now we can go on to actually styling some things with Sass. So we've got this project all set up, and no, I think let me check out the. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go through installing Material UI real quick. Now, there's actually another video in here about installing Material UI if you guys want it. It's pretty simple. So we're just going to go switch over to the other app. Now that we've done installed SCSS and Sass, I'm going to switch over to this other app that we've been working on. And we are going to work on styling this instead. And it's not even this one actually. So I'm going to switch windows in our WebStorm here to College Front. This one, full disclosure, we've already got Material UI installed right here. And we installed it at version greater than .19.1. And if we take a look at this, this one is running on, what port are we running on? Looks like we're going to run it on 3000. I want to make a nice, let's see. Okay, yeah, so here's the app that we built. It's kind of cool. It shows you the trees of courses. So like if you wanted to see what, none of these have prereqs. Doesn't look good. I don't think many of these do. Trying to find a good subject here that has some prerequisites. Econ, yeah, sort of. I guess the default one, Finance 480, is really good. You can see the tree structure of courses and things like that, so that's pretty cool. But what I want to do is implement a new component here that will show you. I want to be able to click on one of these and see a list of the professors that teach that course at a given school. So we're going to need to build a component for that. And we can call that component, we're going to start from scratch. Let's call it Professor Review. And let's say Professor, I think we're going to be able to keep it stateless, but we'll see. Professor Review equals a function. That's going to take some unknown set of props. And we're going to export our default Professor Review. I'll get rid of that. So this needs to return an element. Let's just go ahead and see if we can use this now in our course controller is what it's called here. I'm just going to add, or actually I guess we could add to our app. Now we're going to have to add it to our course controller here because we need to feed it a course. So let's see, yeah, we're just going to add a Professor Review to the top here. And of course we're going to need to import that. Import from, let's see if that's going to work for us. It says React must be in scope. Yeah, I need to copy this guy here. And I don't think we're going to need component if it's stateless. Yeah, there's our review right there. Okay, and because we're using Webpack or that's been given to us at least by the Create React app guys, we're going to be able to use auto reloading or live reloading with our styles. So I'm trying to, let's see, I want to arrange this so that you guys can see what's going on without the image of my face blocking you. Let's see here. Maybe we can pull this down and we'll pull that down to the bottom right. I'm just going to check OBS real quick to see if I can get you guys more room. Yeah, there you go. We'll give you that. So we're going to be developing out of here. Normally I would have a bigger monitor and I would have the this elements inspector here going for Google Chrome, but I think we're going to try and wing it without it. So let's just go ahead. What does a professor review have in it? Let's do the markup real quick. So I'm going to give this a class name, professor review, and then I'm going to go ahead and add like a, let's see, what do professor reviews have? We can use divs for now, maybe. Yeah, so we got the name, right? So name might be Albus Dumbledore or whatever. And we're actually going to set up some props here so that we can wire up the props and everything immediately. Props, mock props, export const mock props equals, and that way, yeah. So we're going to do professor name, Albus Dumbledore, and then in our props, maybe we'll style it like this: professor name is Albus Dumbledore. Yeah, that looks better, huh? And then so in our props here, we're going to pass a props object that looks like this. So we're going to be able to use deconstruction here, argument deconstruction, I think that's called, something like that. And professor is going to be passed into here if we feed it this mock props object. And so then to render that professor name, we run professor.name here. My one too many braces maybe gets confusing jumping back and forth from so many languages. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's syntactically correct. Then we just need to go ahead and import our mock props in that controller that calls our component. Import mock props. Sorry, what am I doing here? Mock props from professor review. Let's go make sure that's also, yeah, that's all right. So then we're going to add mock props as the props for our professor review. I think that's how you do that, but it's not. Is that how you do that? Let's see if that passes our props through. Yeah, there's Albus Dumbledore coming from our props. So now we can develop in here. We can change Albus Dumbledore to maybe Severus Snape. And yeah, there he is. Cool. All right, nice. So the next thing we're going to do is maybe add a little section on the review. Bye. Have a great workout.
Bye. Thanks, man.
Okay, so okay, take him with you, or leave the door open, please. Uh-oh. Separation anxiety here. Sorry about that, guys. So if you just joined, we're in the middle of going over how to style a React app. We just went over how to add the Sass Loader to the Create React app, and now we're kind of just going over how to style a component, basically. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'd be awesome if you left me a comment and told me why, so I can make this channel better. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna add a new field to the mock props that we have here called review text, and that's gonna say, you know, professor was intelligent, but kind of a jerk. And then how do I gave me detention for not knowing my spells. And then potions, I think it taught, or whatever, I don't know. So then we want to use that review text here, and we need some kind of graphic, that, oh, where's our review text? Oh, it's not professor review text, it's just top level review text. Yep. So now we want to maybe add a star rating or something along those lines. So we need a star icon. And let's say star emojis. We'll just use an emoji because they're already included in the browser. Let's see if we can copy that. Yeah, we can. I just want to see right now. Oops. I want to see if we can use this star emoji here. Oops, it doesn't look like it. Not really. Let's see. Apple, Google, Samsung. Let's just see if that does work. Maybe it's just not in the editor there. Yeah, okay, the stars does come up. So I'm just going to paste this here so that we know that's a star in the future. It's a string that represents a star, and then we can go star, star, star if we want to. Yeah, that works. So what we want to pass in here is a numerical representation of the number of stars. So let's say he gets 4 stars, no, it's 2 stars, sorry. Let's be real here. And then that stars prop is going to be right here. And what we can do is we need to create well, we want to print out stars as many times as possible. So stars equals stars we're gonna let, I don't know, let's see if we can do this. Stars combined. Stars count is what we're gonna call this prop. And we're going to call stars combined equals stars count. Or it's going to empty an empty string, and then we're going to do 4, I guess. This is kind of a weird process. Usually I would do like a reduce or something on this, but I'm kind of blanking on what to do. I is less than star count, I plus plus. And then we're going to do stars combined. Yeah, I think this is going to work. Equals stars combined plus star. And attempt to do a sign constant. Yeah, so we can't do that, I guess. Strings are immutable. And then we're going to put stars combined here, and let's see what happens. Oh, and there's our 2 stars. Cool. So now we can take this numerical representation of a star count and cast it to stars. Okay, so now we have some basic HTML here. So let's go ahead and style this then. So let's give this div name a class of name, or professor review name, maybe. Professor name, and we're going to have a review text class here. And this class is going to be review stars. I'm just going to copy this block real quick and move it over to our style sheets. It looks like we're going to need to create that. So we're going to create a professor review SCSS style sheet. And in the same directory here. And we're going to start from scratch here. I just want to paste. I want to go into here, and I want to get these classes here. So what I can do is multi-select on class name, and then jump over with my, don't want to do that. Jump over with my cursor and grab these classes. Multi-select is Control G, if you guys want to look into how to do that. And then I just need to, so these are my classes here that I can work with. And everything is inside of Professor Review. So I'm just like kind of scaffolding out what the classes are here in the style sheet. And I think that should compile now at least, maybe. Right, so if we want to put some padding around our Professor Review, and this is where now we finally get to use this Sass Loader we've added to our Create React app. So now we can go ahead and just add some padding to our review. Let's add some margin at the bottom just to get the stuff below it out. It's kind of margin bottom, 300 pixels. See if that pushes it maybe a little more. I'm just adding that to clear out our window here, guys, to clean that up. Now we're going to want to add like a border or something, I don't know, some kind of light border, solid, 1 pixels of, let's see, like that might be a good one, and maybe some border radius, 2 pixels, something like that. Are we even seeing our border radius here? Just opening up the inspector here to see what's going on. Oh, it's FFF, no wonder. Yeah, that's not going to do anything for us. There we go. There's a better border color. It's weird that it's coming up yellow. Okay, it's not anymore. Severus Snape, the professor name, we're going to want to maybe be, let's see, we're going to make that bold. Font weight, bold. Or something like that. We could even use the number 400 or something. I think 700. I also want to add a, let's see what font this is. But this font is Roboto, which is a cool font and all that, but I want to add, well, I guess it is the Material.js font, so maybe that's okay. But we're going to want to add a little margin below our professor name. Or sorry, margin bottom, we're just going to give it like 10 pixels maybe. And then the stars, we're going to do the same thing below our review text. And then next to the stars maybe, I think we should also add, we can kind of close this, we don't need this, do we? Let's bring our markup in below by splitting the window here horizontally. I want to add like a reviewer name, and let's just make that Nate or something. Or let's say Ronald. And we will, so we're going to need to inject that in here. Reviewer name. And I want these side by side. So we're going to maybe just put the reviewer name right here. We're going to put a hyphen and then we're going to put reviewer name and see how that looks. There we are. There's Ronald. And then maybe a review date too. So I'm mocking these things out as I go because I don't really know what reviewer, let's see, reviewer name. What are they? Review date. I'm mocking the data structure out as I go and importing this from the parent component where we're rendering these professor reviews. And then once we get a pretty solid foundation for a review object, then we're going to go ahead and make this an array and actually include a bunch of these guys in here. So we want to have the review date here. And we probably want that, even though this is good and fine for programmers as date to read, we probably want this in like American style formatting here, I guess. So we'll do June 6 or whatever, 2017. I think it'll look better with the comma there. I like it better without the comma. I don't know what the correct formatting is anymore. It's been a while since grade school, guys. Okay, so yeah, that looks pretty good, except I think I want to put this on the right. And let's see here. Yeah, I think that only makes sense. So to do that, there's a few ways we can do that. We can use the flex box, but then we have to go learn flex box, and I don't have time for that. So we're not going to. There's my alarm to do the requested video here, guys. This video is done by request, special request from a user. Okay, yeah, anyways, I think this is pretty good for the most part. Maybe we want to line this right. I do want to justify this, however. I want this text to be justified so that in subsequent reviews, the text lines up on the left. See how nice this crisp line is here on the left? Everything lines up nicely. I want that on the right for all our reviews as well. So I am going to set on the review text line justify, and that should potentially, yeah, see how that stretched that out right here, and now things line up real nice, and I'll show you how great that looks when we have multiple reviews. Still though, I do want this to line up on the right. Sorry guys, we're gonna have to do this. So we're gonna call this class name review details left or something. I don't know. I don't love the name just yet, but that's okay. We can come back to that later. And then we're gonna end that div, and we're gonna start a new div and that class name is gonna be review details right. And so we don't have the review stars class anymore, so we can get rid of that. Creating these styles here. Learn keyboard shortcuts, guys. It will help you. Maybe I'll write even a video or do a video on that one day because it will save you so much time. We're gonna float that left and we're gonna float this right, and there might be some weird side effects, guys. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Yeah, see that? Now these don't impact the height of our element here. How avoiding, so there's this thing you use called a clear fix that fixes this issue. Self-clear, it's children. I want a simple we're gonna use the clear fix because nobody's got time for this. So what you do there is you throw a div at the end. See how this this line here is overlapping sorry, it's not going to work, but it's overlapping here because this this row here, these two divs are not being factored into the height of this. Also, they're not lined up, which is gross too. So to fix that, you add a clear fix div at the end of the container div, and you just add this clear both. I think. I don't know. It's been a while since I've had to do this. You should use Flexbox. Okay. And it looks like maybe that worked, except for whatever reason this is now touching the top, whereas this one's not. Okay, why is that? Flexbox div stretch. I think there's how to make div stretch in a Flexbox of dynamic heights. Try to make it stacked on. Ideally, look like that. Stretch horizontal. I want space in between these two divs, and I want things to line up nicely. But let's see. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's more or less what I want here, I guess, maybe. Oh, I guess we could do two side by side. Let's go ahead and use this, because right now our problem is that these don't line up, this text doesn't line up, and that's gross, and we don't want our users to ever see gross things on our websites, obviously. So what we can do, so our wrapper, oh man, we need to add a wrapper here called review details. And then we've got our review details left, our review details right, and we're going to need review details here. We can nest the left and right in here just to namespace things a little more appropriately. And let's see. So yeah, so on our wrapper here, we go to review details, and we want to set this display to flex. I think we want all this stuff here. I think that might be all we need. So we're going to add that. And then on the we're going to add this flex one to both of these. We're going to get rid of the floats because we don't need them. And on left, for now we're just going to add that and this. This is going to show us where our divs line up and everything. We're going to jump back to our site here and see what happens. Yay! So look, they lined up, except, oh man, still looks like this isn't lined up properly. I wonder if it's because there's a star, and I wonder if the star is messing up with the alignment here. Anyways, on our review details right, we definitely have to add the text align right. And yeah, I think we'll try adding a star. We'll add actually just the same thing. We'll add the stars combined and then a hyphen and see if that fixes the alignment. Maybe we need to adjust our line height. Yeah, so that lined everything up. So what we need to do then is, I guess, so we could either add a star with display none, I think might work, or I think what we need to do is change the line height. So let's get rid of these stars on our right. And let's go into, let's say all divs inside of there, immediate divs. So we're going to say, I think that means immediate div there. We're going to do, they're both going to have the flex one, make sure that works. Okay, didn't have to do anything. Also, we're going to set the line height to 20 pixels, for example. Yeah, there we go. So that lined things up. It's not enough, it looks like. So we want to keep expanding it until it looks right, I guess. We want it to be the same. Well, that looks pretty good. I'm just looking right now to see if things look right, and it looks like we got about as much space on top as we have on bottom here. Maybe... Yeah, setting the line height seems to work. So I'm going to go, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep increasing the line height until things start to shift down too much. And it feels right there. So line height, we're going to set to 28 for both of those guys. Go ahead and wipe out these background colors that we have. And that should look nice. Yeah, there we go. So this looks pretty nice so far. I think another thing we can use, let's go see, in fact, do we need it? I don't know if we need material for any of this. Actually, this looks pretty great so far. We can mock out another review. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should add to the reviews. Maybe some actions. Let's go hop over real quick. I'm going to expand this, and let's go see what material UI has for us. Material UI React or whatever. I don't know. I want to find components. Yeah, here we go. So we have app bars, avatars, badges. What's a badge look like? A badge looks like that. An icon button. Let's go look at icon. Yay, look at that. Oh, hello. There's some stars we could use. The touch property, adjust the tooltip size. What is badge? Oh, we already looked at badge. Chip. What is chip? Oh, these are cool. But we don't really need those. I'm just looking for anything we can use for material UI, really. I don't, who cares, really? I want to see, like, the kitchen sink or something. Showcase, what's this? Here's some examples of things being used, I guess. I do think we should throw our thing in a list here, though. So let's go take a look at list. Maybe it's not really made for this. Let's take a look here really quick. Is there anything not to like about our review over here? For me, let me open this real quick, make sure you guys can see everything. Yeah, for me, I think it actually looks pretty good. I don't know. I think it looks good as is. I think we could maybe add some box shadow or something. Let's go ahead and do that. So if we go to our professor review, let's just add like a box shadow of 1 pix, 1 pix, 0 pix, black. I don't need 0 pix there. Let's see what that looks like. It's too dark, I think. And I think we should have it straight up and down. Oh, that's not the right way to do straight up and down. We want 0 there and 1 there. So there's straight up and down. I think maybe this is like the blur factor of it. Yeah. And then let's change that color then to something a little less offensive to the senses. There we go. So now we can tell it's popping up. And that looks good. What else can we do? Severus Snape looks good here. Professor was intelligent, but kind of a jerk. I think maybe italicizing this might be worth our time. I also think our border radius is a little too intense. It's a little round for my liking. Yeah, that's better. And yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good there. Let's go ahead and make this mock props an array so that we can see what this looks like with multiple reviews. And we can go ahead and we need to go to our parent component here, and we need to do a map. So right now we're doing this. We need to do mock props dot map props into, and then that gets props. And we need to use the index here. So in our map, it takes the function that map takes can take 2 arguments, one for the index, and we need to just set the key equal to that index so that React doesn't complain. And yeah, so we're still able to render. Let's leave a preview for another professor. This time, I don't know, Albus Dumbledore or whatever. We'll go with that. Running short on names here. Close enough. Really old. Smelled like cheese. Was pretty kind. Yeah, it was pretty good as a study. Good in leading studies. And I'm going to concatenate the string with some more so that we can make this longer. I do wish that he would go off on less tangents. Sometimes those got a little boring. Would recommend. There we go. Alright, and there's our, what is this complaining? I need a comma here. This is our review text. Start count for, this is going to be Cedric, and just change the date there, maybe August. So then let's see, do we see our second, yeah. We're going to have to get rid of this margin bottom now. We don't want that. We do want a little margin bottom though, and I think maybe 10 pixels would be appropriate. So you already have padding. Yeah, there we go. And then I want to go ahead and just let's make sure this. Yeah, let's repeat this a couple times so you can see what a list of reviews looks like. So let's see. I mean, that looks pretty good. That's a pretty good looking list. I don't know what else we could do to make it look better. I kind of like it. I don't love the gradient on this star, but it's an emoji. Does material have a star? We saw a star somewhere. Yeah, I want to know, what does this look like here? Oh. I'm going to expand this for us in a second. So I'm looking through the material examples here. I want to see where they got that star, because that star is more along the lines of the star we want to use. Where did that go from here? Action grade. Wait a second. So let's just look at this. Huh. Yeah, how does that star come to be? So right at the very top left, mobile tear sheet, list sign Chelsea O, tuck in. Left icon is this action grade color. What is the action grade? Well, we can try and see if we can use this. It says pink A. Yeah, so we'll do that. Well, what's a left icon though? I don't know if we can do that or not. Icons, font icon, SVG icon, material. Oh, there's some homes. Children node. Action flight take. Oh, grade. It's action grade because grade is a star maybe. Let's go ahead and try and import the star from material so that everything looks nicer. So we're going to go into our component here and try and import actions. Action is grade in there. Yeah, there we go. Action grade. And we're going to set then our star to action grade and see if that will render like that. Not quite. Not quite. How do we use this? Style, icon styles, margin right. Yeah. I don't know. I think we're pushing it here. Might as well just leave that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a pretty good looking list of professors here, and I think I'm going to call it a day. I don't want to drag on too much. So today we went over how to install the Sass Loader into the Create React App Started project. Worked out pretty well. We got through that fast in the first 20 minutes or so of the lesson. Then we kind of just went on about styling and some theory behind why style sheets are arranged the way they are in modern programming with React at least. And it was pretty fun, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the video or you want to leave a comment anyways, please leave comments below. This video is made by user request, and I'm happy to make more by user request. This was fun, and we got some stuff done, and I think hopefully learned some things together. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As always, have a great day. Goodbye.